start of a new year makes everyone think about who they want to become. But behind the vision boards and manifestation is the struggle of actually getting there. So, today, my friend and I are going to talk about how we can all get there. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Matcha, where we dive into the bittersweet moments of the teenage experience. Just like matcha, both can often be messy and imperfect, but that's what makes them beautiful in the end. With that, I'm super excited for today's episode because I have a super special guest. Let's welcome Lucia.
Hi everybody, my name's Lucia. Sophia and I met freshman year when we both tried out for volleyball and got on the same team, and we've been friends ever since. Participate in a lot of clubs at our school, including like National Honor Society and yearbook.
And just to preface for today's episode, we're going to be reading responses from all of you guys. So thank you so much to everyone who participated. I know on Instagram I had up like a poll, like a question response of what your New Year's resolution is. Yeah. So let's get started.
So my New Year's resolution was to push myself out of my comfort zone more, which I think is really important because I think that on a general scale, everybody learns more when they're outside of their comfort zone, but it's important to have that variation, like being inside of your comfort zone some of the time is really important as well. I think also just being outside of my comfort zone and having that learning experience will give me a sense of fulfillment and like I've lived my life to the fullest this year.
I love that. Yeah, for me, I know I talk about this a lot, but I want to be okay with making mistakes. And like being okay with failing. I think last year was like the first year, sophomore year specifically, was the first year where I really started to learn what it meant to like fail academically specifically. Not like I haven't gone through any hardships before, but that year really taught me a lot about myself, and I'm really happy that I went through all that hardship because I would never be where I am. I think we're going to start reading out everyone's responses now, so.
The first one says, my New Year's resolution is to accept how I look and make myself more comfortable in my body.
I definitely agree with that. I think body image and overall just comparing yourself to other people is so big. And I know, like, we've probably experienced this ourselves, but I think being okay with being who you are is really, really important. And especially in a school environment, in a team environment, it's really important to be okay with yourself. And I know it takes a lot to get there. So
I think one thing that's really important to me in terms of like self-image and especially in that team environment, like you said, is really like explicitly loving yourself and not letting other people or what they say get to you. Again, easier said than done, but it's so important.
Okay, next one is I want to go to therapy and try to pick up new hobbies like pottery and do more artistic things. I want to go to the gym more frequently and eat healthier, cutting more sugar, and also getting out of my comfort zone and doing more things.
Yeah, so specifically in reference to the gym, I think something that's really important, especially in our day and age, is in reference to gym culture and especially diet culture, is using positive language. So not necessarily like you don't always have to be the most positive about everything, but it's important to be kind to yourself, and using words like, oh, I'm cutting this out of my diet can make you seem like, or make someone think that they might not be enough or they might not be worthy of a certain thing being in their diet, which is insane to think about. But in diet culture, like, I think it's really important to be kind to yourself and love yourself.
Yeah, I want to brush up on the part where this person talks about wanting to go to therapy and also picking up new hobbies. And I love that they say this because I think some people kind of think of like going to a therapist or going to a friend as like cringe. Yeah. Because like nowadays people are so concerned about how other people view themselves that they're not okay with sharing their vulnerabilities.
I think that that's so much more prominent, like especially in people our age.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the part where this person talked about picking up new hobbies. Yeah. I think that's so important because if you don't have hobbies and if you don't have other things other than like your schoolwork and all of your other stuff, you're never going to know like what you truly like. Somebody told me this, but they're like, if you aren't able to do the things you love outside of school, then that means something else has to give way, because I'd rather much have someone doing artwork or doing like video editing or doing something that they love, because that could help them advance in their career and their future rather than just being so solely stuck on like school and all of that.
I think that, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's going to have their own specific hobbies, extracurriculars. Sophie and I both play volleyball and we're both very academically driven. But I think it's also so important to like be willing to try new things, and like something that you might not necessarily be inclined to do, but just trying it out and having the experience, being out of your comfort zone, like I said, will help you feel fulfilled. This person said to go with the flow more and not let little things stress me out. I think that the second part, not letting little things stress you out, is so important because in the long run, like focusing on the small things that might bring you down a little bit is really just going to harm your mindset and your productivity in the long run.
Yeah, I definitely relate to trying not to stress over the little things. I literally remember like last season during the varsity volleyball season, I'd have like a math test and I would talk about my like one mistake all practice. And like,
I remember.
Yeah. Everyone remembers on my team. Sorry guys, but I'm trying to get better at that. And I think like I may not be the most seasoned with this, but something that like a lot of people tell me is that in the long run, those small mistakes that you make aren't going to matter. What you did yesterday isn't going to matter. And every day is a new day. And I think there's kind of it's kind of scary to think that every day is a new day, but at the same time, you can fix your mistakes. Like it's think about it like every day you have a fresh start.
Yeah.
So I also talk a lot about not letting my activities bleed into each other. I think for me, sometimes I have so much on my plate and life can get really, really overwhelming. But what I'm trying to get better at is for example, when I'm in volleyball, only thinking about volleyball specifically, or when I'm in math class, only thinking about math specifically. I think when you're able to separate the different things that you're doing, you often find yourself to be less overwhelmed because things aren't clashing. A lot of my activities did bleed into each other last term, and I found myself almost like miserable every single day, and I like don't wish that upon anyone. And it's so hard to get yourself out of that cycle, but personally, I think I'm finally breaking away from that. So
going apart with it.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's also really important in having that distinction between different types of activities is social time. It's really important to let yourself be social and have fun moments with friends while not thinking about other things that might get you down.
Yeah, and I think that also relates to giving yourself a break. I also have not been very good about that. Like, I remember before, I used to think that giving myself a break was a sign of, like, weakness.
Yes, I completely relate to that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't give myself those times to decompress, but what I've learned is that giving myself these breaks and not doing homework for just one night helps you in the long run because it makes you more productive.
Yes.
You know?
Like, not letting these small moments get you down is really, it's so
important.
It's so important, yeah. Okay, this person said, learn how to play guitar, get my license, and learning to control what I can.
That's a good one. I like that. Yes. Getting my license, that's a big one.
That's a big one. Yeah.
Guys, I just took my, like, permit test the first time. Didn't pass it, but it's okay.
This is, like, the only test Sophia has ever failed, by the way, just so you know.
Guys, I studied for it, and all the practice tests, I got, like, 100%. Yeah. And then I took the actual test, and it was so chaotic. So that day, like, I went to the DMV, and then I realized I forgot my actual birth certificate. No. So then I had to go back, drive another, like, 20 minutes back home. Yeah. And then I go back, and then I wait another, like, hour to take the test. Right. So in that hour, I'm, like, frantically trying to, like, take all of the practice tests I can. Yeah. And just trying to, like, be prepared because I really want to pass it. Like, one of my goals for the end of the year of 2025 was to get my permit. Right. And I literally took the test on New Year's Eve or, like, the day before.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
So I was like, I really hope I pass it. Then I took the test. And none of the questions I practiced. And I felt so dumb in the end. I felt humbled, like, my confidence crushed. But it's okay, because we live and we learn, and I'm taking it again,
That's true. I mean, that's a great example of, like, sometimes you can do all this preparation for a big event that you're really excited for, and, like, you fail.
Yeah.
And, in my opinion, failing is really important, because that's when you actually learn things. Nobody that's, like, really smart or intelligent, or so it may seem, has gotten to where they are without failing. In fact, they probably failed the most.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. I used to always compare myself to these kids who are, like, super, super smart in school. And I think especially in high school, a lot of kids aren't used to failing. Yeah. And a lot of those, like, straight-A students, they've been quote-unquote perfect all their life. Yeah. And it's so important that you start failing now and not later because when you fail, you're not only failing, you're also learning how to approach situations. Yes. You're learning
how to problem solve.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I wouldn't change all my failures from last term. I wouldn't change failing my permit test or failing that one like AP World test because I've learned so much from it. So
Me too, I agree.
yeah. Another example of me failing was just recently I studied like 4 hours for this one AP World test. AP World, guys, it's a struggle.
AP World, gosh.
Yeah. It's definitely a learning process. Like, you're gonna go through a lot of learning curves.
I think that's true in taking any AP course, especially if you have a really good teacher. They're gonna challenge you.
Yeah, for sure. But what my teacher was trying to tell me is that if you were perfect from the start in this class, then what's my job as a teacher?
Yeah.
And you can't compare yourself to these other students who may just be naturally better at it than you. Everybody has their own ways of learning. Everybody's a different person, and everybody has their own passions and things that they go through. So just because you don't do something right the first time doesn't mean that you're a failure. Like, you're gonna get better in the end.
I mean, yeah. At the end of the day, there's gonna be like people who are better at certain things than you are, but there's also gonna be things that you're better at that they are maybe not as good at.
I think this kind of relates to the whole like imposter syndrome idea, but it's often hard to, when you do good things, it's hard to acknowledge that you're doing good things. I think for me, I feel that a lot with the podcast. I feel that a lot with me being able to balance everything, and it's like, to me, what I'm doing is just what I'm doing, but to other people, it's like, oh, like, you're doing a lot, you know?
It sounds like so much to other people, but like to us, it seems maybe like the bare minimum.
Exactly. And I think it's because both of us have like really high standards for ourselves. So when we actually, okay, what I like to say is I can never celebrate my wins. Like, there's always something bad that happens in that day that just makes me not want to celebrate my wins. Like, for example, I had this one AP World test that I did really good on, but then I had a math test that I like didn't do that well on, and I was so upset on the negatives that it clouded my vision of what success really meant, and I thought that I was a failure just because I didn't do well on one test. But then I realized as the days went on that it wasn't really that deep in the end. Like, I was able to move past it, and it's just so important to be able to trust the process and trust yourself and your abilities.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at the end of the day, most of society and the people around you are gonna beat down on you and try to get you as low as they can. So you have to be like the biggest supporter of yourself. And I mean, most people will find like other supporters along the way, but it's so important to be like the biggest fan of yourself and be confident in yourself.
Yeah, like, you're your biggest advocate. Don't be your biggest enemy. That's something that my friend actually told me.
Yeah.
Because I was being so hard on myself all of like the fall of 2025. Like, I didn't let myself make mistakes. I was like so upset with myself that I was making quote unquote simple mistakes, because I think the reason why I was making so many mistakes was because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't learning how to do positive self-talk. And again, it's a lot easier said than done to not be your biggest enemy, but some people struggle with it more than other people. And I think in my case, it seemed to me that other people weren't struggling as much as I was. But then you realize that everyone struggles in your own ways and you can't compare yourself. This next person said that they want to text more people and grow their friend circle.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
I think it's so important to be social and like expand your connections, especially in our school.
I think in high school it's so important to have a good support system.
Oh, 100%.
It's so hard to go through things when you're alone or when you feel alone. I always tell myself that I'd rather have one or two good friends than being in a room full of people who don't care about me as much as I care about them.
Yeah.
I think in middle school, I often found myself in that position where it felt like, not that this happened, it seemed like I put so much time and effort into other people, but it wasn't really reciprocated that much.
That's why I think it's so important to like explicitly tell your friends how much you appreciate them. It can seem kind of cheesy, like it can get to a point, but I think it's so important to express to your friends like, hey, I like really appreciate you and I'm glad like we're here together.
Yeah, I definitely think it's so important to tell your friends how much you care about them. I think there are often days where people struggle a lot. Like, everybody has their own days where they fight their own battles, and just seeing that one message where like someone tells you how much they appreciate you, or seeing that one TikTok that was sent to you where it's like, I appreciate you so much, like that just makes my day.
No, me too.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you know I exist.
Yeah. Or have you seen that thing where people are like, I feel so like valued when somebody adds me to their Instagram dump?
Oh my gosh,
or like their TikTok dump?
Yes. I know that feeling. I love seeing like my friends post me. That sounds weird, but I love like seeing those photos of myself. Like I forgot they happened, and I see them again. And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I think it's like those little things that it just shows that your friends care about you.
Yeah.
And I think if you're struggling to find a good like friend circle, it's really hard to start in high school, especially like where you know no one, or even where you're just a more like introverted person. I think definitely like join clubs.
Definitely.
Even if it's scary at first, just do it. Get out of your comfort zone, because often when you join clubs, you're joining people who are like-minded.
Definitely.
So you already have that one commonality about liking games or liking whatever it may be in that club, you know?
Yeah.
So it's definitely important to just get out of your comfort zone in high school. So
Yeah. Okay, this person said procrastinate less.
that's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one for
That's
sure.
a big one. Actually, Lucy and I were just talking about this earlier because both of us, we don't have volleyball anymore this term for high school volleyball at least.
Yeah.
So the time that we have right now is so much less structured.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to procrastinate.
Definitely.
Like, especially when you don't have that structure of school, practice, weightlifting, game, and then go home.
Yeah.
It's so hard to, like, be able to get all of your work done in a timely manner when also giving yourself breaks.
Yeah.
Because, like, me specifically, what I'm trying to get better at, like I said before, is giving myself breaks. So, like, I'll go home, I'll do my homework, and then I'll take a break, but then I catch myself in that, like, doom scrolling cycle, and then it's so hard to, like, get back into the flow of things, you know?
Yeah. I think before there was, like, this pressure of, or not necessarily pressure, but, like, teamwork outside of the court, outside of the weight room. Like, after school, we would go get food together and then sit in the library and do our homework. But now it's like, oh, I'll go home and then wait until practice starts at night. And there's so much space and so much time that it's kind of easy to get lost, like you said, in whatever it may be doing, easy to get distracted.
Yeah, definitely easy to get lost. It's like, it feels weird, like, being able to sit in bed and, like, watch TikTok for, like, 15 minutes.
It's like, oh, I can actually relax now.
Yeah, which is so weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's, like, unfamiliar to me. I don't know why. Which I guess kind of sounds bad, but...
I mean, during the season, it was really just, like, go, 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 because we would have practice every day, a lot of homework every day, and no time for, like,
ourselves
friends or anything.
Yeah. And I think, like, the hardest thing, especially when you're balancing that much, is not losing yourself. I felt, just a little bit, I felt like I was losing myself a lot. Just, honestly, like, from starting high school, because starting high school, I wanted to start a lot. I wanted to do a lot. And I guess amidst all of it, I felt like I was losing my spark and, like, what made me me.
Yeah.
And I know, like, it may not be as apparent to, like, other people, but to me, it's, like, wow, like, I'll see, like, a picture of, like, how, like, happy I looked in, like, middle school and, like, when I had nothing on my plate compared to now. And I'm like, is it that I'm changing or I'm just growing up? Maybe I'm not going to be 100%, like, laughing and giggling all the time. Like, maybe that's just what happens when you grow up. Maybe that's just how it is going to be now. Like, I don't know. It's just so weird.
It's okay. Like, I think it's important to laugh and, like, be having fun, but in contrast with that, I think it's also important to, like, give yourself space and have those down moments, unfortunately, because, I mean, without sadness or loneliness, like, we can't experience joy and, like, community.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I used to be how do I put this? I've always been a very expressive person, but I think there were times, I used to not be as good about this, but I used to not be able to express myself as well as I do now. And I think a part of that is because I started the podcast, and with starting the podcast, I have to be very expressive. Like, I have to be able to, like, talk a lot, talk about my experiences, but that didn't come as easy to me, and it was definitely, like, a process for me.
Yeah.
So
I think that, I mean, especially going through high school and middle school, more so high school, it's important to learn how to be vulnerable, and with that comes learning how to express yourself. And I think that one thing I really value is being able to express myself clearly, which I think was kind of facilitated or helped by my English teachers, which, like, they helped me learn how to write, like, through these other characters, and writing let's say writing an essay about how a character is acting and feeling. It helped me, like, learn how to express myself in words.
I think that really relates to journaling.
Definitely.
One of my resolutions for 2026 is to journal more.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so important I'm very introspective. I'm very in touch with my emotions, but just having a space where I can blurt down all my thoughts is so important. I think like I started like writing down something I'm grateful for every day.
Yeah.
Or like just writing down like my experiences and like how my days have been going, and it helps me kind of get more grounded. It helps me be more grounded, and I think I'm able to be more relaxed and in a more better state of mind now because I'm journaling more.
I think that journaling is like can be really helpful to people if that's like how you express your emotions. For me, I really like telling other people how I feel so that they can like reflect on my emotions and my thoughts and give me advice because that's something that I really appreciate. But like even just doing something as like kinesthetic as writing is really helpful for your brain.
This person just said they wanted to read a book a month.
That's a really good goal. I mean, yeah, I think that that's a good expectation for yourself. I think that a lot of times with New Year's resolutions, people can be really overly ambitious, to say the least, and expect the most out of yourself without giving yourself that support system that is so needed. So I think that having a goal like this is both attainable and helpful.
Yeah, that's definitely a really good point. I think sometimes people set goals that are too out of reach, and it's good to set big goals, but again, like when you don't reach that goal, it like takes a toll on you.
It can be very disappointing.
Yeah, it definitely. So that's why I always like to set like little baby goals for myself, so I can just do things like one step at a time and just get into the flow of like getting used to that feeling of yes, like I did that one goal, let me go on to the next. But for me personally, when I set one big end of the year goal and then I don't achieve it, I kind of just get into this. I go on a tangent of like what I did wrong. I go through all the what ifs, and that's really hard to get yourself out of.
Yeah, so. I mean, again, you have to be that biggest fan of yourself.
Yeah,
it's so important.
Yeah.
I think that, let's say, hypothetically, if you did set a big goal for yourself this year with your resolution, one thing that's really important is to make these baby steps and make these smaller goals for yourself that will help you get there by the end of the year.
Exactly.
This person said, stop comparing my progress to other people. We're all on our own timelines. That's so true.
I love that. I love that so much. I know we kind of like brushed on this a lot, but again, like comparison, that's definitely something that like everyone struggles with. Like it could be on the court, it could be in the classroom, like literally anywhere. And I think especially in an environment where like I feel like our school specifically, everyone just strives to be so good and they have all these like good activities and they're all good at their sports, and it just gets so hard where you're in an environment where like everyone's good at what they do. It's hard to appreciate yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah, I think especially at our school, like this success or how good you are at something is what a lot of people define themselves by, and I think it's important to, okay, while I can appreciate like this certain aspects of myself, I should also be like independent of that. Like it doesn't define me necessarily.
Definitely. I think I struggle with that a lot too. It's like where I tie myself so much to what I'm doing outside of school and like all my like activities and stuff. And there's some moments where I have to kind of take a step back and be like, Sophia, like you are so much more than what grade you got in that one class or that one volleyball game or that one meeting that you had, you know. But it's definitely hard. It's definitely a process that I'm still getting better at. And again, it's easier said than done. So
definitely.
I think something with our generation and just in general, especially with social media,
Definitely.
I think it's kind of performative in a way because everybody posts so much about like their successes and not enough about their failures.
Yeah.
You know, like I think especially when you're on social media and you're seeing all of these amazing things that people are doing, it's hard to not compare yourself to those other people because you don't see what it took for them to get there. You just see the final end result.
Yeah, I mean, on social media, I don't think a lot of people really want to put out what's best about them and what maybe they're most proud of, and that makes sense. Like, it's something that you would want to show off, and I don't think people really want to put out their failures because while they're so important, it's failure. Like, it's not something you would most conventionally like be proud of.
Yeah. I saw this post from this girl on LinkedIn. I think she goes to UC Berkeley, I want to say.
Okay.
And she was like, I think LinkedIn is a very performative platform. I think I only see people posting their accomplishments and their successes. So let me take this 5 minutes to write all of my failures from 2025. And when I saw that, I was like, that's such a good point. And I think people definitely, like, that's so overlooked. But I found myself falling into that trap of seeing what other people were doing and seeing that end result, but not thinking about the actual journey and the amount of hardships that it took to get there. Like, for the most part, when you see these people on screen, you don't see what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't think there's enough of that transparency of showing what it took to overcome those hardships to get to that point you're at, you know?
One thing that this person specified that I wanted to tap in on was they said progress and not necessarily results. And I mean, everybody says this, but progress isn't linear. Progress isn't something that increases every day. It's something that will increase, then decrease more, then increase little by little.
Also, along the lines of progress, I think it's so important to recognize progress over perfection.
Yes.
Like, again, with the idea of being okay with failing, I would much rather be the type of student or the type of person who has overcome so much hardship and I still succeeded in the end versus being perfect all my life.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
That is something that is so much more, like, easier to be proud of than it is for just to have no adversity faced and still succeeded.
Yeah, I like to compare it to sports games.
Yeah.
I like thinking of it as I would much rather play a game where we fought hard versus having just a straight landslide. Because I think, especially in those moments of pressure, it's fun to play. Like, it's fun to see yourself get over that one big step or get over that one obstacle and then still winning in the end. Like, that's the best feeling ever. And again, like, I think it's definitely hard to get into that cycle of wanting to be perfect all the time and wanting to ace every test and wanting to play amazing at every single volleyball game, you know?
I mean, I think it's like, again, tapping in on like being your biggest supporter. You're never really going to be perfect at everything that you do. So being your biggest supporter is really going to help you like overcome these small things and be able to surprise yourself, like in a volleyball game or something. You'll be able to surprise yourself like, oh, I have all this pressure on me, but I can still execute and be proud of myself.
Yeah. And I think along the lines of seeing that you're able to get over those obstacles, something that I think the reason why I struggled so much is because all this hardship was new to me and there was so much uncertainty and unfamiliarity in those situations that I was in. So I wasn't able to know that that I'm going to be able to bounce back from that. But once you go through those hardships, then you know, like, it's evident that you can bounce back, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, I definitely experienced a lot more adversity going into high school than I did at any point before in my life in terms of education, because for me, I had only ever gone to public school before high school, and it was a completely different experience. And the teachers at our school now push me to such a higher standard, and with that comes both this success of surprising myself, but also the struggle of adversity and like getting down on yourself.
This next person said to value myself above others' validation. I think that's such a good point because, again, being your biggest supporter, being your biggest advocate, it's also really important to get that internal validation rather than the external. That's also something I struggled with a lot because I wasn't able to tell myself that everything was going to be okay. I would always have to go to a teacher or a friend or a counselor to tell me that I'm going to be able to push through. But again, like, now looking back on it, after having experienced all of that, it's evident that I can do it, you know?
Like, the entire world around you is going to be trying to put you down and trying to get you down. So it's basically your job to, like, deny the world's authority to get you down. Like, it's important to remember that nobody else is going to support you the way that you can. Like, even if they try their best, they're not going to be able to get in your brain and really motivate you as much as you can.
I like that part about being able to get into your brain, because tying that back into the point of having internal validation versus external validation, at the end of the day, you're your own person, and people's advice can only go so far. And I think that's why I struggled so much, because even though people were telling me, like, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna get that A in the end, you're gonna win that volleyball game, I couldn't tell myself that that was possible. And because there was so much uncertainty, and because I didn't know that was possible, I felt miserable every day, and I like was so overwhelmed because I didn't know that I can do it.
So, Sophie and I have been saying, like, all of these things are much easier said than done, and I'd heard that before in my life, like, oh, easier said than done, like, and it really goes to show, like, how you can hear a phrase or, like, encouragement so many times, but it's never really gonna get to you until you tell it to yourself.
This next one that someone said is to spend more time with loved ones. I think that that's so important, because I think this year I got closest to my family than I ever have before. And like I remember in middle school, over the weekends I'd always want to like get out of the house and like be with my friends. And then as I got older, I'm like, can I just stay home and like be with my family? Like I was just so overwhelmed to the point where it forced me to like be closer to my family and like tell them everything that I'm going through, because they're the ones I come home to every day. And for them to see me in such a frenzy every day was hard for them too. And I'm just so supportive. I'm so grateful that they have been such supportive figures in my life. So
Yeah, I mean, again, like, building your support system around you includes your family at the end of the day. And I think most commonly, everybody's family is going to be their biggest supporter besides them. This person said, I want to take in more of the small moments in life, and I want to be more grateful for blessings.
I love
That's
that.
beautiful.
I like that so much. I think taking in the small moments is so important. Um, I was actually just looking through my camera roll today, and I saw, or actually it was in my camera roll, I was looking through Instagram and I saw this, it was like memory from January 10th, 2024. And I saw this like one small moment of me and my class from middle school, and I was like, wow, I would like do anything to go back to that one small like presentation in class where we were just like laughing and like having the time of our life. Like I think it's so important to recognize the smaller moments, and especially the moments that shape you to be who you are. Like they can be the smallest, like it can be that one geometry test you took, or it can be that one volleyball game. Like it doesn't have to be all these big extravagant moments, you know.
I think especially during the volleyball season, it, like, this past season was so important to me that I was grateful for every moment. Like, okay, even if I'm not having the best day at practice, I'm going to be so grateful that I'm here today, because it is a blessing to be on the same team as all these amazing people and be in this environment that's so supportive of me.
Yeah, and it's like it's a privilege. I like to tell myself it's a privilege to study. Like not everyone gets the same education that we get, and although like I tell myself like, oh, I hate this, like I don't want to study, I don't want to like take this test, like in reality, like I'm so grateful and I'm so blessed to even be in the space where I can do that, you know. I also think that life goes by so fast, and life, it's impermanent, it's fleeting, you know. And every moment that you experience goes away. Like every day is a new day, and I think that's so scary to think about. Like just think about it, like today, January 10th, 2026, we're never getting that back. And I think that's so weird to think about.
It's weird to think about, yeah. I mean, one thing that I've been considering for a while is humans have done as much as they can in history to control as much as they can, but the one thing that we can't control as humans is time.
It sounds really like corny to say, but like I've always said that time is my greatest enemy. Actually I have like a journal thing that I like wrote.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can like pull it up to read it.
You're like Hamilton kind of.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this sounds like so like cringe to talk about, but I said time is my greatest enemy, but also my greatest friend. Every day lived is a day we will never get back. The way moments slip through our fingers, the way photos turn into silly old memories, and the way days become just another moment in time. It's terrifying. But there's beauty in it too, because with each day is memories to be made, a piece of our story ready to be carried forward. Life may be fleeting, but maybe that's what makes it most meaningful. Every moment is a chance to create something worth remembering.
That's so true. I mean, the fact that we can't control these things, and, well, one memory might be sad and another one might be so joyous, and remembering it just like brings a smile to your face. I think that what gives those memories value is the fact that we can't go back to them.
That's good. And I think that's why I feel like I'm such a nostalgic person, and I'm that type of person to like sob because I saw that like one graduation photo or that one volleyball game, and it's just because like you're never gonna get it back, and it just feels like as time goes on, the more the memories slip away. But it's so important to recognize that memories go wherever you go as long as you remember. And I think it's so important. Like you're not gonna forget. I mean, maybe you will, but if the memory was really important to you, you're not gonna forget it. Okay, this last resolution that someone said is listening to podcasts and educational videos like TED Talks instead of music while getting ready.
Well, you know, you can always listen to Let's Talk Matcha. So.
Yeah, guys, like tune in.
Yeah.
But besides, I'm not biased. Guys, I'm not biased. But I think just in general, like listening to podcasts or listening to TED Talks is so enlightening, I think.
Yeah.
And personally, like I love listening to Emma Chamberlain's podcast. Anything goes with Emma Chamberlain.
I love anything goes.
Yeah, and I think like it's so soothing to hear other people's experiences and hearing how people approach certain situations, because then it gives me a certain sense of it makes me empowered to, I guess, like be better, if that makes sense. Like I want to like be able to grow. I want to be able to improve and thrive, you know? Like I don't want to spend every day of my life just living in misery, you know? Like I want to be able to move past that, and I think one of the first steps to get there is seeing how other people do it. And it's really important. So
yeah, I think that seeing the other perspectives of people like on their podcasts or TED Talks or whatever it might be is really valuable. Like seeing how they encounter adversity and how they come over it is really valuable.
Yeah. What I like about podcasts and like TED Talks is that they don't talk about solely their successes. I think these videos are a platform, I guess, that showcase people's vulnerabilities and their failures, which I think is so important, because if you don't embrace your failures, if you don't embrace your vulnerabilities and you suppress it, then you're never going to grow. I really, really like how a lot of podcasts are so personal and it's such like an intimate space. And I think, I know like I have my own podcast and stuff, but I think in general, like just being so appreciative towards those people, because it's hard to put your experiences out there on the internet and like constantly post reels and stuff. Like again, not just saying that because I have one, but even like beforehand, like I would always be so, I guess, what's the word? Like I would admire how people were able to do that so easily.
It really does take a lot of courage. Because,
definitely.
Yeah, you're making this vulnerable environment, this like intimate space, like you said, and you're putting it out there for kind of anybody to see. I think that's so interesting.
Yeah, and it's also like people can hate, people can say what they want, but at the same time, there's also people that appreciate where you're coming from, who appreciate your perspective, who appreciate that you're doing this. So just, again, kind of like this idea of letting the positives outweigh the negatives and rather having the negatives outweigh the positives.
Yeah, I think that overall having these diverse perspectives is beneficial to the general community, despite all this hate and negativity. I think that in making New Year's resolutions, it's important to remember to be kind to yourself and just be your biggest supporter.
Yeah. And I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk Matcha. If you guys ever need any advice, you can always contact me or Lucia. Our DMs are always open. So, yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you.